Hey everyone, welcome back to Teen TV Deep Dive. I'm your host, and here on this podcast, we discuss all things teen TV. If you follow me on my other social medias, you might have been able to tell that this week's topic is about the To All the Boys I Loved Before movie trilogies. It's also a book series by Jenny Han. I really love it. It's probably one of my favorite comfort series. I just always find myself rewatching this movie and I don't know, I just love it so much. So I'm really excited to talk about it. Um Today I wanted to just talk about the movie itself, but also all of the characters and kind of breaking them down as well. So basically, of course, to give you a little bit about what the movie is, To All the Boys I Loved Before is about this girl. Her name is Lara Jean. She's a hopeless romantic. She loves writing love letters. And whenever she has a crush that's so intense that she feels like she's just stuck, she writes a letter, gets all of her feelings out, and she just wraps it up and keeps it in this box. And she never has any plans on giving it to the boy that she has a huge crush on, but it's just for her personal well-being, like peace of mind, I guess. Um, and there's been 5 boys in total. There's Peter Kavinsky from 7th grade, her neighbor Josh, John Ambrose from Model UN, Kenny from camp, and then Lucas from her freshman year homecoming dance or something like that. And so basically, these letters get out somehow, somewhere, and now all the boys have received the letters that Lara Jean wrote to them. And now she's freaking out. Everyone's kind of like trying to address her, like, okay, girl, what's up with this letter? You just gave it to me out of the blue. We don't even talk anymore. And she's just freaking out, and it creates a lot of chaos. But when one of the recipients of the letters, Peter, got his, he had the idea that everyone kind of assumed that Lara Jean currently liked them because that's when they were just getting the letter. So she wanted one particular person to stay off of her heels, and she didn't want him to suspect that she liked him. So Peter proposed that him and Lara Jean could kind of like fake a date, pretend to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and kind of make these people in their lives unsuspected of their feelings. Peter had this girlfriend that he had been in a super serious relationship with for the longest time, and now that she had broke things off with him, he wanted to seem like he was like happy without her, living his best life. So yeah, Peter and Lara Jean fake date for a while, and of course, we all know how things work out. So yeah, now that you know a little bit about the movie, now I can get into talking about the characters. Of course, I wanted to start off with talking about Lara Jean because she's the main character of it all. But she's definitely relatable. She's one of my favorite just movie or TV characters in general just because of how much I can relate to her. She's really introverted and she's a hopeless romantic. She loves love. All like the romance books and movies and TV shows are also kind of her jam, like me. But she did want the drama. Throughout the movie, she would constantly say, like, this is not what I wanted, or this is never what I planned for, and how she just wants to blend into the background. But I think a teeny part of her did like how her life got interesting and juicy with all the drama in it. She had such a slower, like simple life before. She spent a lot of time with her family, and she only had one friend named Chris, who's also her best friend. But her slow, simple life kind of got interesting the more drama that she added into it. So I think she did like it. And she was also oblivious sometimes. Like, of course, there were other people that you didn't really actually get to see who liked her. But I think everyone who got a letter was slightly intrigued. They kind of were like, okay, well, where are you feeling about this now? She's like, I don't have feelings for you guys anymore. But I felt like all the boys were still kind of interested. Like, okay, maybe you don't have feelings for me right now, but what can happen from this? And everyone was interested in kind of seeing where things could go with her, but she didn't want to fully acknowledge that. Especially with Peter, it was his idea for them to fake date. He was never like mad about the letter or felt uncomfortable about it. and I can tell that he just always kind of had a thing for her, but she didn't want to admit it for the longest time. And it was kind of frustrating sometimes rewatching it, and you can kind of see all the little knowing glances and just stares here and there. And I'm like, girl, he always liked you, but she didn't want to pay into it. She was also a really good sister. She was the middle child. She had one younger sister, one older sister, but they were just all super close knit and just really tight. And I like that a lot for them. But she was a super supportive sister of all her other sisters, of Kitty and Margot. Like, she supported Margot a lot when she was going off to college and she went to Scotland. And when Kitty came to her with problems as she kind of got older, she was in sixth grade. She was also really supportive of her too. So I just enjoyed that from Lara Jean. And something that I wanted to talk about, because it's not the entire premise of the movie, but it's pretty important. But Lara Jean's crush on Josh. Josh was the boy next door that she had a crush on for the longest time. She felt like it was pretty forbidden and it just couldn't happen because Josh eventually ended up dating her older sister, Margot. So Lara Jean felt he was off limits. But I don't want to make the whole episode about comparing it to the book. But I just have noticed from when I read the first book, um, the book actually focuses more about her feelings on Josh and how basically the main motivation, or the part that gets the story rolling, is Lara Jean's crush on Josh. And in the first movie and first book, at the beginning, it seems like Josh is the number one kind of like most intense crush that she's ever had. And I don't know. I never really thought about them actually being together or having a relationship. They just didn't seem that compatible to me. And honestly, he was kind of disposable afterwards as the movie started to go on. So I didn't really care that much for Josh. But I do think it was kind of interesting how his presence like took so much importance in the book, but then in the movie he kind of faded into the background like as the movies went on. And she was also just really resistant to Peter, Lara Jean. I feel like every time that he tried to make an advance in their connection overall, like hanging out a little bit more, or the love letters that he wanted to write to her each day, and just every little thing that you could kind of tell is he did because he had a crush on her. She was not going for whatever reason, and I still liked it, and I think it's a big part of why I'm so entertained by the movies is because she doesn't immediately buy into their relationship and actually admitting her feelings for him. But still, like, girl, I don't know. But I still really do love Lara Jean, and she's a really amazing character, I still think. But yeah. Moving on to Peter, he is the blueprint when it comes to what I look for in a TV boyfriend, like whose team am I going to be on, what ship am I going to support. Peter is the blueprint. In every movie or TV show that I watch where there are love interests, I'm looking for who's the Peter Kavinsky dupe, because he'll never not be the standard. But I didn't enjoy how hung up he was over Jen. It just took him a really long time to get over her and to fully leave her in the past. And sometimes it could get a little annoying just because of how obsessed he was with her, even though you could tell she didn't care about him as much as he liked her. She just seemed to really like the attention that he gave her, and not so much his actual character, but like that persona that he put on and the notoriety that he had throughout the school. I think is what Jen likes so much about him, but not actually Peter and his personality and just the effort he put into a relationship. And I liked how Peter was always a nice guy. I know in some movies where it's the shy girl and the popular guy that he tends to put up this persona of being kind of mean, and as the movie goes on, you have to peel back those layers to get to know that he's really kind and just a nice guy. I liked how that's what made him popular and so likable to other people, was just that he was genuinely kind. And of course, he always liked Lara Jean. When I first watched the movie way back when in 2018, um, I didn't notice it at first, but just the more and more I watched the movies, it's like every subtle thing is like, wow, he liked her then, he liked her then. Is you can just pinpoint at every moment that he always had feelings for her, which I thought was kind of cool. Um, but yeah, once again, really did love Peter as well. Moving on to Kitty, she was the epitome of the annoying younger sibling. Just how on every TV show you always see the youngest sibling is always mischievous, really witty and clever, and can roast pretty much everyone. But while Kitty did kind of cause some uproar in her sister's life, I think her heart was always in the right place. And that's what made me like her so much, is that she never really had any bad intentions or wanted anything bad for her sister to work out. She just loved her sister and wanted the best for her. Moving on to Margot, she was also a really relatable character just because she was like super responsible and super independent and just followed that oldest daughter trope. She was just kind of what you would expect when you think of like the oldest daughter. She's what you imagine. She's super organized. She always has her stuff together, but she was overly independent at times. And I feel like that's why she left Josh. Her excuse was kind of how she said that their mom once said, um, don't be the girl who goes off to college with a boyfriend. I think she did kind of think about that and try and reason with that. But I think her main reason for wanting to leave Josh is because she just felt better on her own. And he was a relationship kind of guy. You could tell that he wanted more of a we situation, and Margot still wanted to maintain the I in their relationship. Now, as I was just talking about Josh, I wanted to talk more about him, and I just couldn't really figure out what he wanted from the letter. He had just got out of a pretty serious relationship with Lara Jean's sister, Margot, and he never actually seemed to have reciprocated those feelings. Like, it was never said in either the books or the movie that he had those same feelings for her. So I was just kind of confused, and I wanted to know more about what he wanted from it. Did he want clarification? Did he just want to know that he still wanted to be friends with Lara Jean and just only be friends, but he wanted to make sure that she could move past those feelings that she once had for him and their friendship can return back to normal? Or what would that normal friendship look like if she didn't actually have feelings for him? I just wanted to know why he was kind of pressed about the letter, honestly. But yeah, that's really all. But overall, this movie is really great. I feel like it's one of the best coming of age movies that I've seen in a long time. Just, I don't know, this movie really sparked my love for romance movies and rom coms. And every time I'm watching a new one, I just compare it to Tall Boys in the back of my mind, like, do I love it as much as I love this movie? And almost always the answer is no. But I do. I just really love these movies. I urge you to watch them if you also love romance and you have not seen them. Or if you have seen it, give it a rewatch. I love rewatching movies and just seeing the new details that you can pick up from it. And I think Tall Boys I Loved Before does a great job of including those little details that you can appreciate when you've seen it more than once. So yeah, that's all for today's episode. Be sure to follow me on my other social medias on both Instagram and Facebook at Teen TV Deep Dive Podcast for more. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to comment down below what you thought about this episode or just your thoughts in general about the To All the Boys I Love Before movies. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!